Hey everybody and welcome back. I'm Fox with FoxeoGames and this is episode number 12 of Dark Souls Remastered, the playthrough. The topic being the Manosphere, specifically the red pill. Today's drink of choice is very different from what it normally is. I have whole milk, cold, in an ice cold mug. There we go. This is no antibiotic milk. Excuse me, although I don't know if the cows are grass-fed. That's a good question. Probably not. They'd advertise if they were, I think. Last episode we talked about validation seeking. The two episodes prior to that, 9 and 10, very important episodes in my opinion. We discussed how you should focus on, let's see, what do we got here? The Dark Wood Grain Ring. Awesome. And the Covetous Gold Serpent Ring so we can farm large Titanite. The 9 and 10 episodes, very important. The most important episodes of this series. I should have started with them. But, you know, hindsight is 20/20. So we discussed how to maintain your frame. And specifically what you do to maintain your frame. And it was a two-parter. I'm actually surprised I got it knocked out in only 2 episodes. I anticipated 3, possibly 4. So, but we stayed on topic. And I was able to talk for most of the episode without too many distractions. I don't know if you can parry these guys. I guess maybe you can't. I'm not sure if I ever have, to be honest. Still sick. I'm recording all these episodes on the same day. So, the medicine I took earlier might be wearing off. Oh, I don't want them to fall and die, because that way I can't pick up what they drop, you know? Although instead of just farming them for large Titanite, it might be better to go buy the large Titanite at this rate. Today I wanted to talk about not something you can do so much, but something you should be aware of. And that is male shaming. See that? That right there is utter complete bullshit, because he doesn't bounce off the wall, but you do. And this weapon doesn't have a good attack that won't bounce off the wall. Wow, that was close. So far, no large Titanites. You know, I remember them dropping them like crazy, but maybe times have changed, huh? Maybe times have changed. I didn't get the amulet. I guess I do have a light source. I've got the skull, so I could go get the amulet using that. But I'm just not a big fan of that amulet. And did we defeat Manus? We didn't, did we? We just died to him repeatedly. So, oh well. I don't think we did defeat him. I fought him a couple times, I know that much. And I think we decided to go get the Dark Wood Grain Ring. That's what we did. Now I remember. Nothing. What a bummer. Male shaming is the topic of the day. So what is male shaming? Well, you know, you can pretty much guess what it is. It's an attempt to shame men, and it's very specific to men. This is not shaming people. This is shaming men. So it's not the same as just shaming tactics. There are shaming tactics that are used across the board. And there are specific shaming tactics used against women. But I think that more often than not, if anyone uses a shaming tactic against anybody, it's generally going to be used against a man. Typically, men are shamed for what they do or don't do, for what they are or are not. And oftentimes, this shaming is structured and organized unintentionally, but it is societally organized in such a way as to encourage you to do things that benefit the feminine imperative and that specifically do not benefit you. So, you know, it's the idea that if you're dating a girl and she's got kids from another man, you need to take responsibility for those kids. You need to, if he didn't man up, and he probably tried to, but she kept him from doing that and made it a living nightmare for him, and he spent thousands in family law court trying to get to see his kids and finally gave up. But anyway, that aside, it's important to note that what'll happen is they'll tell you, well, you need to man up. You need to man up and take care of these kids. You know, and the thing that I hear in the red pill that people talk about is I'm not the stepfather, I'm the father who stepped up. And of course, inherent in that, included in that statement, is a judgment of the other father, the biological, well, other father, sorry. I really shouldn't have said that. Is the other man in the picture, is what I meant to say. The other man, it's the biological father. In other words, the father, the real father, the actual father. There's a judgment of fathers all across the board. The biological father is judged for not doing things the way biological mom wants them done, and for giving up after spending tens of thousands of dollars fighting in family law court. And then, let me see if we can get this punk up here. And then the stepfather, or do you see how that's going right through him? You see this? It's not just, oh. Okay, so you see that, right? Look at where those arrows stopped, okay? I'm just saying. Hitboxes, guys. Hitboxes. Well, at least he hits the, or she hits the invisible hitbox too. There we go. That's why you need to get lots and lots of arrows. You end up wasting a bunch on stuff like that. So the male shaming tactics are across the board, all over the place. You'll see them from women. You'll see them from men. You'll get them from your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your female acquaintances. I hope you don't have female friends. Because remember, guys, if you have a girl that you think is your friend, and you're not sleeping with her, you're not in a romantic relationship with her, you're her girlfriend. So keep that in mind. And that signals to other women that you are a girlfriend type of guy. They all put you in the friend zone inherently because they see that that's the type of guy that you are. You're the guy that they're going to go to complain about the other guys. So they're going to go sleep with the other guy and then come complain to you about it and rest their head on your shoulder, but not sleep with you. They'll be offended and shocked when you express, romantic interest in them, sexual interest in them. You were supposed to be the friend, the safe zone friend. That's how you get friend zoned. So the way to not get friend zoned is you don't be a friend to women. I have female acquaintances for sure. I don't have female friends. I have guys for that. Men fulfill that role in my life. They should in yours too. That'll offend a lot of millennials. Millennials like to think it's all about equality and men and women are the same. And the only thing that makes us different is we have different physical bodies. That's nonsense. That's just not true. But I'm not going to be able to convince millennials of something they don't want to believe. I forget you can actually get to this. This milk is really good. It's been a long time since I had straight up milk. I know bodybuilders and fitness experts have been down on milk lately, but fitness people in the fitness sphere, bodybuilders have been using milk for decades to get big and strong. So this anti-milk trend is very recent. And unless you're lactose intolerant or have a milk allergy, I wouldn't worry about it. You're fine. I think you're just fine. And I believe there's a red Titanite chunk, possibly slab in here if we light it up. I think we have the skull, right? Yeah, there it is. But now we can't do our little fast roll thing. Interesting that they have you come in here. Oh, there it is. I was going to say, did they make you go through 2 illusory walls? The red Titanite chunk. Don't need it. Don't really even want it, but we got it. There's a couple more of these guys we can kill, try to get some more large Titanite. We're also getting souls in the process. I'm sure it's not the fastest way to farm them, but I'm in no rush in this playthrough. I really don't want to finish a playthrough of this topic in just like 12 episodes, which could have easily been done. I have more to say than that, Whoops. Oh, come on now. Moved his head sideways and missed him. Now, this game does not account for you being like hidden, unless maybe it works with the fog ring or something. If you hit an enemy, no matter what distance away you are, they always come straight to you. It's like they instantly know where you are at that point. So you can't truly snipe unless you kill them on the first shot. Male shaming. So what is male shaming? It's an attempt to shame men in masculine, or specifically attacking their masculinity, attacking their manhood, attacking their physical appearance. It's a way to shame them for not being a real man and not manning up. It's very unique from the way you would shame a woman. It's generally not at all the same. You don't shame a woman by you don't shame women by saying that they're not a real woman. That's almost unheard of. Like, when's the last time you heard anyone say, well, you're not a real woman? I mean, that's almost unheard of for anyone to say something like that. Got her. All right. But you often hear it said, you're not a real man. Well, if you were a real man, you would X, Y, and Z. If you're a real man, you'd step up and take care of my kids. If you were a real man, you'd step up and be a father figure to them. And of course, as we discussed in a previous episode, when you do that, when you step up to be a father to a woman's child through another man, when she dumps you, or when you have to move on and you dump her, you lose the kids too. You just have nothing. You have absolutely no access to them. And if for some reason you fought to try to get access to them even after the relationship ended, I mean, you'd have to, first of all, at least be married. Secondly, there'd have to be no other father in the picture. And then, if you did somehow get access to them, you'd be on the hook for child support. You cannot get access to someone else's kids, another man's kids, without also being fully responsible for them in the same way he would be. That means you'd be paying child support. Oh, shoot. Let me back up and get some health going here. This guy's pretty relentless. There we go. Ooh, 2 pieces of the chain armor. So, I mean, if you're dating a single mother, you have to play a role, but you don't play the role of their father. You're a stepfather at best. Never anything more than that. You're not their father. You're not going to play that role. You would play the role of like a big brother to a kid. You're always well aware that this child is not yours, this boy or girl, and always well aware that she can take away your access to them at any time for any reason of her choosing, and you have virtually nothing you can say or do about it. And, whoops, I think I'm going to need maybe just a little bit more on the soul side to level up again. So let's not level up. Let's go buy some large titanite. And we will go to, let's see, Chamber of the Princess, and go to the giant blacksmith. Strategy, guys. If you want to drink cold milk, to keep it nice and cold, take a thick, large glass mug with a handle, put it in the freezer, put it upside down so stuff doesn't get into it. You don't want stuff landing in it, and then that floating in your milk. That's gross. Leave it overnight or however long you need to. Leave 1 or 2 in there in the freezer. So you have these ice cold glass mugs, and then pour the milk into it. That'll help keep the milk nice and cold. Pro tip from Fox to you. So, male shaming is a control tactic. It's a control scheme. It's a methodology to control men. They're essentially trying to dictate what you can and can't do, what you should and shouldn't do, by making you feel guilty. One way they do this is by just attacking your manhood. That includes like the size of your genitals. That's just when they have nothing else and they just want to go at you and try to get a rise out of you. That's where you need to maintain your frame and maintain your emotions and not respond emotionally. Another accusation we just talked about is the not a real man. If you were a real man, you would do this thing that I want you to do. Because apparently your girlfriend or wife decides what a real man is. Right? Right, guys? By now, I think you should already know what I'm about to say on this front. But who decides what a real man is? Yes, exactly. You do. It's your decision if you're a real man or not. Other men will have their opinions. I don't think women get to have an opinion on whether men are real men or not. I think that's man territory. I mean, they can share their opinions, obviously. There's no way to stop them from doing that. But I think that... Whoops. Just wasted money on those. I don't think I need those for anything. It's up to you to decide for yourself what you consider to be a real man and what you want to do as a, quote, real man. I need some more of those, so we're going to pop some souls if we need to. And did we get this item back here? Yes, we did. Okay. You can, like, temporarily get stuck behind this guy. You just got to, like, keep pushing, and eventually you'll come out. Let's go ahead and reinforce the black bow of Ferris. All right. We're going to pop some souls here. I think these demon thingies are still alive, right? Oh, no, they're not. Oh, for some reason I thought they were. My bad. And did we get the item down here? I believe we did. A Titanite chunk, I think. Okay. So, one thing to be aware of with male shaming is turn it around on the woman. If you see a woman shaming men, flip the genders and put that on the woman and watch the reaction. Because I've noticed that as a general trend, one thing I do on my personal Facebook page, one thing I do sometimes on Twitter is, you know what, we're not going to use the Moonlight Butterfly Sword. This is not a sorcery build at all, or a faith build for that matter. The Solar Priscilla, I'm going to hold off on that. What does Gwendolyn give you? It requires some sort of magic, so we're not going to need that. Let's see, let's do a Soul of a Brave Warrior. Yeah, we got 9 of those. That's nice. We'll do one more. And you flip the script. Because in many cases, if not most, if men treated women the way that women treated men, people would be shocked and appalled. They would be offended. It's offensive. So, look at it this way. If a woman treating you in a certain way is acceptable, but if you turn around and treat her in the same way, it's offensive and unacceptable, what does that say about society as a whole? It says we value the feminine imperative, not the masculine. Women have the advantage, men have the disadvantage. Look at it this way. Perfect example I like to use all the time. It's a great example in my line of work. So when you look at comedy shows, TV shows, things of this sort, where are we at with... Okay, so the Ferris bow is all the way in the target bow, or the target and bow, the target shield. That's awesome, because I think that's all of our shields and weapons. Cool. Okay, now we need chunks. Barb, straight sword plus... Can he ascend? No. No. I love the idea of a lightning shield. It's almost useless. I guess you could do that if you use like the shield that drops off the wheel skeletons. There, it makes sense. Or if you're going to use... What's that called? The barbed shield or Nightkirk shield? Alright, let's go to the other... Actually, hang on. Does he sell... No. I don't think I'll need the giant set for anything. No, we're good. Let's go this way just for the heck of it. So, comedy shows, TV shows, movies, even sometimes in real life, real videos. When a woman hits a man, she slaps him. When she kicks him in the balls, so to speak. When she pushes him, it's considered funny. It's considered comedy. It's comedic. People laugh. It's just, you know, it could be silliness. It's her just being emotional. You'll notice in a lot of movies, if the guy does something that the woman doesn't like, she slaps him. And this is so normal. It's been so normalized. You probably have never even thought about this before. Because flip the script. Remember I talked about this. Flip the script. take that same movie and imagine that the woman was saying something that she'd done and the man's not happy with it, so he slaps her. Is that funny? Is it silly comedic fun? Or is it seen as horrible domestic violence? This is a very, very important point for me to emphasize. I think it's one of the key ways that we see the flip the script thing and how society works off the feminine imperative, not the masculine, in most cases. I'm not saying that the feminine imperative dominates every aspect of life. This isn't an all or nothing. There is nuance, obviously. Nuance is a skill, guys. Always have nuance in argumentation. When people make arguments, typically somebody is not arguing an all or nothing, everything is either black or white, up and down, on or off. Most people understand there's some degree of nuance. There are exceptions to most rules. So, imagine a scene where a guy admits to the woman, it's in a romantic comedy, he admits to the woman, I'm sorry, I slept with your best friend or your sister, and she gets all mad and huffs and kicks him in the nuts. And he goes, oh, and it bends over, and the audience laughs. The viewers laugh, it's funny. She kicked him in the nuts. That's specifically an attack on his manhood in the most literal sense. Now imagine that the woman admits to having slept with his brother and he does something to injure her genitals, kicks her in the genitals, or does something of that sort. You know, obviously it would be totally offensive. I mean, it would be unthinkable. Like, wow, no, you can't do that. It's the old adage of you never hit a woman. Women are not taught never to hit other women. Women are not taught never to hit a man. They aren't taught that. Ever. I mean, pretty much ever. Now, again, this is a general rule. It's not a universal. It doesn't mean that no woman ever in the history of the world has ever told her daughter, hey, don't hit guys. I'm sure there have been. But as a general rule, women are not raised to, do I need the Havel's ring? I don't, do I? Let's do the wolf ring, shall we? Well, you know what? Let's see if I can do the Havel ring instead and get an equivalent amount of... How much poise does that have on it? 20. No, we're not even going to get close. Not even close. Okay. Yeah, the wolf ring is excellent for poise. I think it gives us a solid 40, right? Oops, keep hitting the wrong button there. Yes. Yeah, because nothing else I have on right now gives poise. Excuse me, guys. Still sick. Have to forgive all the coughing. Let's go see if we can get some Titanite chunks. And where can we get those? How about in New Londo? I think that's the only place to farm them, right? I can't think of anywhere else where you farm Titanite chunks. So, remember the flip the script thing. I want you to apply that in your experience. When you see other people talking, interacting, men and women, when you see it in TV shows and movies, when you see it on Twitter, do the flip the script in your head. You don't have to type it out. You don't have to tell the person verbally, but just do a little quick flip the script in your head and see how it sounds. It's almost ridiculous. Imagine that a guy and a girl go on a first date. They meet online, they go on a first date, and they have a meal. And the girl says, okay, well, I had a really great meal. And he's like, yeah, that was awesome. You're paying, right? Does that seem kind of ridiculous that the man would expect her to pay? But you know how many women expect the man to pay. In fact, there's this new thing that they're calling foodie calls. This is where a woman will go out with a guy, and several women have admitted to this, and there's articles online, and I'm assuming it's true. I don't think it's all fake, where they say, yeah, I paired up with this guy on Tinder, and although I wasn't really interested in him, I just went out because I figured I could, he'd pay for the meal, and we talked about it, and, he says he believes in paying for the food, so I just wanted to go out to dinner and have a guy pay for it. So it's a foodie call. You go out, and the main point of her doing it is just to eat. And I'm sure, if he turned out to be really interesting and had a strong personality and a lot going for him, she would at least consider him. But the intent from the very start, from the beginning, is just to get free food out of him. There is no expectation that a woman is going to pay for a guy. I mean, that's just not something that we have. So again, the flip the script concept. It's also the notion that, oh, there we go, first one. Now that I'm thinking about it, let's do this. It's actually going to be better if we do it this way, because this way I have some poise. That dodge is useless when you're getting hit. Dodge is only helpful if you actually dodged. Having poise allows you to have the benefit of failing to dodge and still poising through an attack. Got him. So, there's also, of course, like we discussed, the not a real man accusations. The most important thing to take from this is just don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. If someone is attacking your manhood and they're just attacking your manhood, they don't seem to want anything from you, ignore it. Move on. You know what? You need to be sure enough in yourself that thing doesn't, that kind of stuff doesn't throw you for a loop. Don't let that make you change your behavior. Don't let it get you riled up. Again, you got to maintain your frame, maintain your emotions. But let's say it's someone who's attacking your masculinity or manhood, and they want something specific from you. They want you to do something. It's a manipulation tactic. I would say, and I would strongly encourage you to recognize it. You don't have to call it out. You could. But the most important thing is, do not do what it is they're trying to manipulate you into doing. Don't fall for the tricks. Don't fall for the tactics. Another one we just discussed, we can talk about a little more, is the man up. Generally used by both men and women. Sorry, I was going to say generally used by men, but I guess both of them use it, really. The whole point of man up is, again, you're not a real man if you don't do X, Y, or Z. So women want men to continue to have all the responsibility of the past, the old social contract, and yet they don't want them to have any of the authority they used to have under the old social contract. The way it used to be is that the guy was kind of the head of the household. Whether it really functioned that way or not, that was at least the illusion. That was the pretext to the relationship. She sort of deferred to him on some decisions. He worked, he earned the money. He made some of the major decisions, or let her do it, whichever, he preferred. And it's a Christian concept. It's a very Christian concept. If you want to find out just how Christian a woman is, point out all the parts in the Bible that talk about how the husband is the head of the household. And watch how quickly she eschews her Christian values for modern feminist values. She will suddenly not give a shit what the Bible says anymore. And it'll be all about those new, modern, millennial feminist values. The Bible be damned. No pun intended. But you'll see it. Watch. Some of the most dedicated and what you would believe to be some of the most conservative Christian women are going to turn a totally different... you're going to see a totally different side of them when you start pointing out those verses about how a woman cannot leave her husband or must remain single, cannot remarry, that she must listen to her husband and follow his lead, and he's the head of the household, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, watch what happens. Oh, I'm glad he didn't immediately attack me, otherwise that would have been bad. Ugh! I hate how long that Estus takes. Sometimes it's just ridiculous, the Estus chug. It's a very lengthy animation. And it's meant to be. It is meant to be, so. We've gotten very fortunate. We've gotten a lot of Titanite chunks for a run here. We didn't get one on the last one. That would have been nice. Okay. We have not fought Sif yet, so obviously we can't go down there. But what I will do is jump here. Now watch this, gentlemen. We can get a few more of these guys going up this way. So again, I wrote down in my notes here some things to discuss in terms of the shaming. One thing to keep an eye out as you look at how movies, TV shows, Hollywood, even real life people on your Facebook page, people in person, how they treat violence from women towards men radically differently than violence from men towards women. When you hit a woman, it's very serious. It's a very horrible thing. But when she hits you, it's just, she's just very emotional and you should be able to take it and it's not a big deal and it's different. That's the number one thing you'll hear a lot of women say. Well, it's different. It's different. Now, if you remember the actress who played Darlene in Roseanne, okay, she was on The View one day. I don't know if she's a regular on The View. I don't watch The View. It's a bunch of cackling hens. It's like it's kind of like the apex of feminist tripe garbage. I mean, it's just an exact perfect example of everything wrong with modern feminism and women, the show like The View. It's just a bunch of cackling hens that have nothing worthwhile to say, who think they know everything and talk shit about men, and think they're just hot stuff, and they're really not. But Darlene was on the show, and all of the other women on there were laughing about this story where this woman got really mad at this guy. I guess he cheated on her or something. So she cut off his genitals and put them in the garbage disposal. And they were laughing about it. It was funny to them. And, I understand, like, my job requires that you have a dark sense of humor. I understand a dark sense of humor. This was not having a, over-the-top dark sense of humor, like just laughing at the absurdity of and the horrors of life to deal with it. That's one thing, I sometimes do. But this was, it's funny, let's laugh at it. That's what he must have done something to deserve that. You'll notice that this is, I could die here. Woo, that's a close one. This is something that in the reverse, you would almost just never hear. Even some of the most crude television shows or talk shows, Howard Stern, whatever, probably don't often discuss mutilating a woman's genitals and make it funny and laugh about it. If a man mutilated a woman's genitals, like say cut off her parts of her body, like parts of her breasts or something, guys wouldn't sit around on a TV show joking and laughing about how funny it is. I mean, that would make the rounds. They would have to profusely apologize. They'd have to prostrate themselves on Twitter, and give the standard public apology for having offended the feminist imperative. And yet here these cackling hens are talking about how funny it is that some guy had his genitals severed. Well, Darlene, sorry, that's not really her name. The actress who played Darlene, I don't know her real name. She spoke up and she said, well, I don't think this would be funny if it were the reverse. She said something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but she said, if this were a woman or if this were a man doing something to a woman, we wouldn't find it funny. And one of them was kind of like, oh, yeah, okay. And the other one was like, well, it's different. That's the most common thing you'll hear. It's different. It's really interesting to see how people can justify their bad behavior on the pretext of, yeah, well, it's different when I do it. It's different when I do it. Now, that is sometimes a logical argument. For example, if there's a certain government official who has the legal authority to do something, like he has the legal authority to install and regulate traffic lights, then yeah, if you go in there and try to mess with a traffic light, yeah, it is different when he does it. He's tasked with that job. He has the qualifications for it, hopefully. That's what he's supposed to do. That's what he gets paid to do. But for the most part, when we're talking about just regular people, between regular people, it's not different. It really isn't. There's nothing different about it. It's different societal emphases and focuses. It's the difference between society saying, you know what, that's not acceptable, and society looking at virtually the identical thing in the reverse and saying, you know what, that's fine. That's okay. Because remember, women are the victims and men are the perpetrators. This is always the assumption. Because when you hear about a woman doing something horrible to a man, a woman kills a man, a woman beats a man, a woman takes the kids and runs off on them, the assumption, the question is always, what did he do? He must have done something to deserve it. right? What did he do to deserve that? He did something to her. What did he do? But when a man does something horrible to a woman, takes the kids and runs, he gets accused of kidnapping. He's just an awful man. When he hits her or abuses her, he's just an awful abusive husband. Nobody asks, what did she do? Nobody insinuates that she did something wrong and deserved to be beaten. Not the way that we do it in the reverse. Sorry, my voice is cracking from being a little tired and sick. But you know what, guys? I do this for you. Not for me. Well, I do it for me. Because it's my frame. I like doing this. If I didn't like doing this, I wouldn't keep doing it. But I hope it's a benefit to you. If it is, please let me know in the comments. I do try to read them all, guys, even if I don't respond. Sometimes people just make comments like, yeah, great idea, Fox, or I really like this episode. And that's awesome. I try to at least hit the like on your comment so you know I saw it. If I have something worthwhile to respond with, I'll type it out for you. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. You'll notice that the assumption is always, if the woman is really angry and does something bad to the man, well, it was justified because he did something to deserve it. This assumption does not function in the reverse. And believe me, guys, if you ever do something to mistreat a woman and she tells everyone about it, people assume that you're just horrible and what you did is awful, and they'll tell you to go apologize, and how could you do that? And nobody, and I mean virtually nobody, would ever say, well, she must have done something to deserve that. That's almost unheard of for them to do that. So keep that in mind, that you're playing a game where the handicap is on you. You're severely handicapped. If you guys know Othello, basically in Othello, the most powerful positions are the four corners. Once you take a corner, it's yours until the end of the game. It cannot be retaken, and it gives you a lot of power to take other spots, potentially. When you play this game of dating and gender dynamics, wow, he dropped 2? I didn't know they could do that. Oh, the Dark Hand. I got it. That's awesome. I don't know if you can upgrade it, though. Can you upgrade the Dark Hand? I'm going to take a look and see if you can. And you can parry with it. That's so cool. The stability on it sucks, though, I think. But let's compare it to the target shield. So, physical block is 80. That's better than the target shield. Stability is 30. Target shield is 54 stability. Damn. But hopefully we won't be doing a lot of blocking with it. We'll have a little fun with it. We'll see if we can upgrade it. So again, you're playing at the handicap. You're playing where everyone assumes that you're the bad guy and she's the victim. And you just have to accept that reality. We can work to try to change it. We can work to try to change opinions, people's hearts and minds. But until then, this is the assumption that's out there, okay, guys? And there's no signs of it changing anytime soon. There really isn't. Golly. Those ghosts are vicious, aren't they? He didn't drop anything anyway, so we don't need to go get it off his corpse. Good thing. So, women nowadays have a lot of this. And when I say this, guys, I am not saying absolutely all women 100% of the time. A lot of women, some women are more reasonable than others, obviously. Some kind of see how things are going and do not think it's fair. I follow one on Twitter. I can't remember her name. Something Britain. Britton or Briton. She often talks about the plight of men, how we mistreat and abuse men as a society and think it's funny and don't care and think they deserve it. So she does talk about that, which I think is good. Whoa, he just about got me. You know, I gotta say, we are getting chunks a lot faster than I ever remember them, you know, dropping. That's a lot of chunks. We got 2 off one of them. That's cool. I don't think I knew that they could do that. Maybe I did. You know, it's been so long. Can't remember last time I just farmed for chunks. I farmed for the large Titanite shards, but not chunks. So, women want men to have all the responsibility of the past. Financial responsibility, social responsibility, all of that stuff. Take care of the yard, take care of this, help raise the kids, help clean the house. Wow, another dark hand. You're supposed to have all of the responsibilities you've always had, possibly more now. Now they want you to help out with the house more than in the past. Now you're supposed to help with the kids more than in the past. Now you're supposed to go to the kids' events and the doctor's appointments and all that stuff that was traditionally seen as like the woman did all that. You're supposed to do more. They want you to have more responsibility, none of the authority. Pure handicap. Golly. What is wrong with me? Why can't I parry this? God dang. This is all me this time. Oh, I was too far back for that one. Got him. Sucks I can't quite kill him with a single backstab. And I think that's it. Yeah. We might want to go somewhere and buy some more Homered Bones. One thing I'd hoped that they would include in this game is an unlimited Homered Bone item. You know how you have the feather in Dark Souls 2, and I think there's an unlimited Homered Bone item or spell or something in Dark Souls 3. I mean, yeah, there is a spell in this game, but you have to get a talisman, and I don't know how much faith you need to cast it. Alright, let's go... Where can we buy Homered Bones? Let's go to the Undead Parish first. I don't think he sells them, though. Who sells Homered Bones? I really don't know. Well, we'll start the Undead Parish. And we have some upgrading to do anyway. Which we could have done at the bonfire, I guess. So it doesn't matter so much. So, now that you're expected to have all of the responsibility plus more, and none of the authority, women want to have all the authority, they want to make all the decisions. You know, it's funny, women will literally argue about believing in equality, and then in the same breath argue about how women are superior and better leaders and better at this and better at that. Because that's the truth coming out. Women have been sold a lie all their lives. Modern women. Yeah, he doesn't sell that. I knew that. Just like men have been sold a lie. We're kind of both in the same boat in that regard. Let's see what we can do about the... Oh yeah, the Dark Hand, you can't change it. I didn't think so. Oh, Titanite Slab. Let's hang on to that. We're going to hold on to Titanite Slab. I don't quite want to use that for that yet. We're going to get a few more chunks, guys. Where... Homered Bone. I'm going to check with the... I feel like there's a merchant somewhere not too far from a bonfire that sells Homered Bones. I just don't remember which one it is. I don't think it's the mushroom. Elizabeth, is that her name? Oh, but let's go back to the mushroom. I always forget to pick up those healing mushrooms after defeating Manus. What? Well, it's not. Let's warp to the correct place first. How about that? Sanctuary, right? Isn't that where I went? Am I crazy? I thought that was the Ulasil Sanctuary I went to, right? The township, is that one? The township dungeons, the one down there. Okay, so I don't know what I hit. Let's wait and see what happens. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I have no idea how I got to that one, but whatever. So another shaming tactic that people use, and this one sadly is like a lot of people, men and women, is what I like to call the myth of the deadbeat dad. You know what? We can get it from, what's his face? Chester. Ulasil Township. So the reason I call it the myth of the deadbeat dad is because it's not that there are no deadbeat dads, it's that the archetype of a deadbeat dad is itself the myth. It's the myth that men uniquely abandon their children, don't pay for them, don't do anything for them, don't care about them, and that this is a uniquely male thing, and that it's very common and ubiquitous. And you know what? We never saw Kieran again. Are we... Okay, hang on. Are we supposed to see this and then come back to it and then Kieran shows up? I don't know what the condition is to get her to show up. But yeah, of course, there are some guys out there that don't care. They dodge responsibility. They make no effort to contribute to the financial burden of the children, and they just don't care. Obviously, there are those men out there. Most people can think of an example that they think is one. The only problem I would say is to be careful, because I would imagine that more often than not, if a woman is saying that a man that she knows is a deadbeat dad, she's probably the reason for it. More often than not, and I'm part of a lot of groups online, I find that men are fighting to have access to their kids, and the mothers are doing everything they can to make it as difficult as possible. And then, after they push the fathers out of the lives of the children, they run around and tell all their family and friends and everybody and their new significant other that he's a deadbeat. He didn't care. So just be aware of that, guys. If you're dating a woman who does this, you need to stop. You need to tell her that's unacceptable. That should be a hard boundary for you. You should not date a woman who ostracizes or alienates the father of her children. Unless he is provably a molester, or pedophile or something, there's no excuse for that. He's not going to be a perfect father. I mean, believe me, guys, there is no such thing as a perfect father. He's not going to be a perfect father. You won't be a perfect father. Nobody's a perfect father. Let me warp out and back in and see if Kieran shows up. Lord's Blade Kieran. Although I think I already have that armor set on this other character that I can now work with. I just don't have any of the stuff upgraded for it. So, the deadbeat dad thing is a male-shaming tactic. It's meant to make men look bad. Again, not a real man. He was not a real father. He hasn't stepped up to the plate. And then they turn that around and want you to step up to the plate. And keep in mind, that doesn't mean that you just take little Johnny to the baseball games. That means that you pay for little Johnny. You help her pay his medical bills and pay for his new leg brace or whatever it is, or pay for this or pay for that. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into what to do to get Kieran to show up. Is it defeating Calamite? Because we can fight Calamite. Let me go see if... I think we've already struck Calamite down. I'm pretty sure we have. Let's go up and check. I've kind of exhausted most of the examples I think I had on my sheet here. Again, I want to get back to flipping the script. If you want to open up a woman's eyes, a reasonable woman, not crazy women, you can't open their eyes to anything. But if you've got a reasonable woman, you want to open up her eyes to how the world treats men, especially Western societies, then do the flip the script thing. Reverse the genders in a situation and watch how terrible it is that the man is treated the way he's treated. Because like I said, if men treated women the way women treat men, people would be shocked and appalled. Sorry, hang on. Did I say that correctly? If men treated women the way women treated men, people would be shocked and appalled. And the idea there is... Okay, yeah. I think, we've done everything. Okay. The idea there is that society tolerates women abusing, neglecting, and bad-mouthing men. If she talks shit about a guy, it's because he did something. If she kicks him in the groin, it's because he did something. If she beats him, it's because he did something. If she slaps him, he did something wrong. And it's all okay for her to do that. And of course, it's not okay for him to do that. Yeah, I think that's what we have to do, actually. I think we have to tackle Calamite. I believe we can bleed him out, too. So that'll make the fight a lot easier for me. It doesn't matter whether I use the target shield or the dark hand. Oh, shoot. Both are really terrible for blocking Calamite. So that's not going to be important. All right. So, what do you do about it, guys? We talked about it. So what do you do about it? Here's what you do about it. You don't respond to it. If someone is shaming you on a masculinity level, a manhood level, manliness, masculinity, whether whether you shouldn't have your man card, don't do what it is they're trying to manipulate you into doing. It's a manipulation tactic. You don't want to respond to it. You can answer. You can actually verbally respond, but you don't want to give in to it. And if you want to give a verbal response, a simple response is that you're not going to get me to change my behavior by trying to shame me. Or you can say, I don't respond to shaming tactics. And they'll try something else, or they'll continue the shaming tactic. In many cases, they'll add more shame on it, try to add more guilt on it. They'll tell you that you're selfish. That's a very common shaming tactic that is universal. That can go to either men or women. That's not unique to either one. So that tactic is about saying you're selfish because you won't do what I want you to do. This is risky. Here we go. So be aware of that tactic. It's not specifically directed at manhood, but it will be directed at men very frequently, very often. Bleed them out. Come on. Where's the blood? Oh, shit. Oh, I knew I wouldn't have I knew I was too close for that one. Oh, I misjudged what he was going to do there. That was my bad. I thought he was rearing up. He was rearing back. That's very different. When he rears back, you need to get out of the way. Otherwise, he's going to stampede over you. And that's not something you want to try to block. I mean, you'd have to have a great shield for that, I think. Let's go back to Lucille Township. I don't think we're going to get any summons at this point. This game has been out for a while. It's the PC version, which online version, the online communities on the PC tend to die a little earlier than the consoles because you get a lot of hackers and cheaters. It's easier to cheat on PC, unfortunately. So they end up ruining it for all of us. It's unfortunate, but it happens. So yeah, recognize the shaming tactics. Recognize the specific tactics that are used. And I think the biggest part of that is the recognition, the knowledge, the being aware of it. Once you're aware of it, it has very little effect on you. You may have to practice with it. You may have to work at it. But when someone comes up to you and says, what are you, not a man? You're not man enough to blah, blah, blah. Be like, I just don't care. Tell them you don't care. Be like, you know what? I don't care about that. That's not a manliness thing for me. Or it doesn't matter to me. The other thing you can do is known as amuse mastery. If a woman's like, oh, you're not man enough to do X, Y, and Z. Be like, you know what? I'm not. I'm just totally not a man at all. I just can't handle that. It's way beyond my scope of masculinity. So maybe you need to find a man who's got that extra dose of masculinity I'm missing. And you mock it. You make fun of it. Because if someone comes at you with some stupid shit, then it's okay to mock it. They know it's stupid. Mocking it points out that it's stupid. Or, you could say something silly like, oh, you're not man enough. You're not going to man up and take care of these kids. Be like, well, they're not my kids. And my masculinity level has hit an all-time 0 right now. I just don't have any masculinity left in this bottle. Something stupid like that. That usually does the trick. I really shouldn't grab this right now, but I did. I think he always does that initial... Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you could run past... Okay, that works. That's awesome. Oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. I got just outside that. Now, a lot of people like to do these fights without being locked on. I really like the lock-on. Ooh, I can't believe I dodged out of that. Yeah, I knew I wouldn't dodge through that, but I tried. Can't blame you guys. That should have actually hit me there. I got lucky that didn't hit me. Okay, let's get him away from this. I don't want to be backed up against the corner. Oh, shoot. I should not have dodged backwards. Oh, he got me right before I could hit that Estus. I'm noticing I'm not getting the bleed effect, so I wonder if he cannot be bled out. I feel like I would have gotten it on that first shot. Okay, I'm realizing I'm not actually sitting at the Ulysil Township bonfire. I need to actually sit down at it to make it our new warp point. Whew, all right. And you know, if you guys paid attention to episodes 9 and 10 about maintaining your frame and how to do that, a lot of the tactics in there cover how to avoid shaming techniques. You just don't take an interest in them. You are amused by them. They're funny. They're humorous. They don't throw you for a loop. They don't get you worked up. They don't get you all angry. You just go, okay. So when she says, are you not going to man up, step up, and be the father to these kids? You say, no, I don't think I will. Why'd you expect me to? It kind of response would be interesting, I think. I think it is dangerous, though, if you go too far into that and she thinks you're trying to stir up shit. I wouldn't do that. So you got to kind of gauge what you think her response will be and not be too antagonistic. You don't want to instigate any more than necessary. Woo, perfect timing. Got him right before he got me. That's hard to do. That was a blind attack. There we go. Little unlocked combat there for you. Oh, another little nuance of the shaming tactic will be when a woman will refer to another man. This could be your mom referring to your brother. Well, your brother would blah, 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 or your brother is blah, blah, blah. Or if a girlfriend or wife refers to an ex. You know, if she says something like, well, my ex-boyfriend didn't have a problem doing it. And a good response to that is to say quite simply, well, I'm not him. And that's it. Just leave it at that. I'm not your ex-boyfriend. Or you could, you know, turn it into the amusement and go, oh, you mean the one you dumped? Or you could say, oh, the one that dumped you? You know, emphasize that she's comparing you to someone that she left or no longer wanted to be with. Or that no longer wanted to be with her. I need to back it up a bit just so I can see what he's about to do here. Yeah, he's not being bled out, is he? I like that move. That move and that red tearstone move, or that red eye move, or whatever it is. I can't remember. Oh, shoot. He got me with his tail. He doesn't normally do that move. I didn't know I was safe between his legs when he does that second part of that. Oh, I'm in trouble now. Let's see what he's got now. Oh, bad time to do that. Bad time to do that. Oh, I got lucky right there. Very lucky. Oh, come on. You got me right on the tail end of that. Having a +6 Estus flask really helps here. Oh, shoot. I didn't see that coming. Oh, no. I knew that was going to come. Okay, guys. We're going to have to take this into the next episode. I think that was attempt number 4. We'll try attempt number 5 in the next one. We'll get it. We always do. It just takes a little time getting used to it, especially with this weapon that does relatively low damage and is not proccing the bleed effect like I would hope, like I hoped it would. So, today's topic, male shaming. Don't fall for it. Don't buy into it. And I forgot to mention this, guys. Don't do it yourself to other people. Don't shame other men with these male shaming tactics. Don't do it. encourage other men, but the shaming thing, not a good look for anybody, in my opinion. I'm Fox with FoxeoGames. I hope you guys join me for the next one. Leave your comments below. Follow me on social media. Links in the description. Twitter, above all else. That's where I'm most active. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Later.